What if I told you it's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it that could be blocking your fat loss? You can be eating healthy, even doing keto, but if your carb timing is wrong, your body stays stuck in fat storing mode. Today, I'm going to show you the #1 carb timing mistake, the science behind it, and how to fix it starting today. What if the real reason you're not losing fat has nothing to do with how much you eat, but when you eat it? Every single day, your body is making a silent decision to burn sugar or burn fat. And the switch that controls that decision is not willpower, not calories, not even exercise. It's a hormone called insulin. Insulin is powerful, it's essential for survival, but in today's world, it has become the very thing quietly blocking millions of people from ever accessing their body fat. Because here's the truth most people never hear. The moment insulin goes up, fat burning shuts off, not slows down, not reduces, it stops. And what raises insulin the fastest? Carbohydrates. Bread, rice, sugar, snacks, even so-called healthy carbs. They all send the same signal. Store energy, don't burn it. Now imagine this. You eat carbs in the morning, then again at lunch, then a snack in the afternoon, then dinner, then something sweet at night. It feels normal, it feels harmless, but inside your body, something very different is happening. Your insulin never comes down. It stays elevated all day into the night. And when insulin stays high, your body is locked out of its own fat stores. You are literally carrying stored energy that your body refuses to use. This is where the timing mistake begins, because your body isn't just influenced by what you eat, it's programmed by time. Deep inside your biology is a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal clock that controls everything from hormones to metabolism. And this clock determines exactly how your body responds to food at different times of the day. In the early hours, your body is more insulin sensitive. It can handle glucose better. It can use it, burn it, process it. But as the day goes on, something shifts. By evening, your insulin sensitivity begins to drop. And at night, your body enters a completely different mode. It's no longer focused on burning incoming fuel. It's preparing for repair, recovery, and most importantly, fat burning. This is the window where your body is designed to tap into stored fat. But there's one condition. Insulin must be low. Now here's the shocking part. When you eat carbs at night, even small amounts, you spike insulin at the exact moment your body is trying to burn fat. You interrupt the process, you shut down fat burning right when it should be at its peak. Studies have shown that late night eating is strongly associated with weight gain, increased body fat, and higher risk of metabolic diseases. Not because people are eating more calories, but because they're eating at the wrong time. Your body treats nighttime carbs differently. Instead of being used for energy, they are far more likely to be stored as fat. And this is why two people can eat the exact same foods, the same calories, and get completely different results based purely on timing. One burns it, the other stores it. Now think about the habits most people follow. Late dinners, midnight snacks, sugary drinks after dark. It feels normal. But biologically, it's a perfect storm for fat storage. Because every time you eat late, you extend the period where insulin is elevated. You delay the moment your body can switch into fat burning mode. And if this happens every night, your body never gets the chance to burn fat efficiently. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly fat loss feels impossible. Not because your body is broken, but because it's following the signals you're giving it. The most dangerous part is that this mistake hides behind healthy choices. A bowl of fruit at night, a handful of nuts, a cup of sweetened tea. They don't feel like mistakes, but timing turns them into one, because even healthy carbs at the wrong time can block fat burning. This is not about fear. This is about understanding control, because the moment you change the timing, everything changes. When you move your carbs earlier in the day, your body uses them as fuel. When you stop eating a few hours before bed, insulin begins to fall, and when insulin drops low enough, your body flips the switch. It finally says, burn fat. This is when real fat loss begins, not forced, not extreme, but natural, biological, inevitable. People often think fat loss requires more discipline, more restriction, more suffering, but sometimes it requires something much simpler: alignment, working with your body instead of against it, giving it the right signals at the right time, letting insulin rise when it's supposed to and fall when it needs to. Because fat burning doesn't happen when you're constantly feeding your body. It happens in the gaps, in the quiet hours, when insulin is low and your body has no choice but to use what it has stored. And that's the moment everything shifts. Energy becomes stable, cravings begin to fade, sleep improves, and fat finally starts to disappear. Not because you're trying harder, but because your body is finally allowed to do what it was designed to do: burn fat. The question is no longer, what should I eat? The real question is, when should I eat it? Because the difference between storing fat and burning it may come down to a few simple hours. And once you understand that, you stop fighting your body and start transforming it. What if the real reason your body refuses to burn fat isn't because you're eating too much, but because your hormones are stuck in the wrong state? For decades, we were told a simple story: eat less, move more, count your calories, and the fat will disappear. But millions of people followed that advice, and nothing changed. The scale barely moved. The frustration grew, and slowly, a dangerous belief took over: something must be wrong with me. But what if nothing is wrong with you? What if your body is doing exactly what it's been programmed to do, based on the signals you give it every single day? Because fat loss is not controlled by calories alone. It's controlled by hormones. And the most powerful fat-storing hormone in your body is insulin. Insulin is not the enemy. It's essential. It keeps your blood sugar stable. It helps your cells absorb energy. It keeps you alive. But in today's environment, where food is constant, sugar is everywhere, and eating never stops, insulin is almost never allowed to rest. And that's where the problem begins. Every time you eat, insulin rises. Not just with sugar, but with any carbohydrate: rice, bread, cereal, snacks, even foods labeled healthy. Each bite sends a message: energy is coming in, and insulin responds by saying, store it. Now imagine this happening not once or twice a day, but constantly. Breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, dinner, late-night treat. Your body is never in a fasted state. Insulin is always elevated. And when insulin is high, fat burning is turned off. This isn't a theory. It's a biological rule. Your body cannot burn fat efficiently while insulin is elevated. So even if you're eating fewer calories, or even if you're exercising, your body is still stuck in storage mode. You are trying to burn fat while your hormones are telling your body to store it, and hormones always win. Over time, this constant exposure to insulin leads to something even more dangerous: insulin resistance. This is when your cells stop responding properly to insulin's signal. So your body produces even more insulin, just to keep blood sugar under control. Now you have a double problem: high insulin all the time, and reduced sensitivity, meaning it takes even more insulin to do the same job. This creates a vicious cycle: more insulin, more fat storage, less fat burning, and slowly your metabolism begins to change. You feel tired more often, you crave sugar more intensely, you feel hungry, even after eating. This is not a lack of discipline. This is a hormonal trap. Research has shown that chronically elevated insulin levels are strongly linked to obesity, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. Not because people lack willpower, but because their biology has been pushed into a state where fat burning becomes almost impossible. Now, here's the part that most people never realize. It's not just what you eat that controls insulin, it's how often you eat. Every time you snack, even something small, insulin spikes again. Even a healthy snack, even a low-calorie bite, your body doesn't care about the label. It responds to the signal, and the signal is simple: Food is coming in, store energy. So when you eat every few hours, thinking you're boosting metabolism, what you're actually doing is preventing insulin from ever coming down. You are blocking the very process your body needs to burn fat, because fat burning doesn't happen when you're constantly feeding your body. It happens when insulin drops low enough to unlock your stored energy. That drop, that window, is where transformation begins. But if you never allow that window to open, nothing changes. This is why controlling insulin timing is everything. Not extreme diets, not starvation, but creating space between meals, letting your body breathe, letting insulin rise and then fall. Because when insulin falls, something powerful happens. Your body shifts. It moves from storing energy to using it. From depending on incoming food to accessing stored fat. This is the metabolic switch, and once it turns on, everything feels different. Energy becomes steady, cravings begin to disappear, hunger becomes predictable, not constant, and fat loss finally starts to happen naturally, without forcing it, without fighting your body. But there's a condition. You have to stop interrupting the process. You have to stop grazing all day. You have to stop feeding insulin every few hours, because every snack resets the clock. Every bite delays fat burning. Every unnecessary spike keeps your body stuck. And the most surprising part, you don't need to eat less, but you need to eat less often. This is where many people struggle, because we've been taught that frequent eating is healthy, that skipping meals is dangerous. But the science tells a different story. Periods of not eating, when done correctly, allow insulin to drop. They give your body access to stored fat. They restore metabolic flexibility. And they remind your body how to function the way it was designed to. This doesn't mean extreme fasting. It means intentional eating. Meals that satisfy you, spacing that allows recovery, time for your hormones to reset, because your body is not broken. It's responding perfectly to the environment you've created. And when you change that environment, your body changes with it. Insulin goes down, fat burning goes up, and suddenly what once felt impossible starts to feel natural. You're not constantly thinking about food. You're not fighting cravings all day. You're not exhausted from trying harder. You're simply aligned with your biology. And that changes everything, because fat loss is not about punishment. It's about permission, giving your body the time, the space, and the signals it needs to finally let go of stored fat. And it all begins with one powerful shift: not eating less, but controlling when insulin rises and when it falls. Because once you master that, you don't just lose fat, you take back control of your metabolism. What if the reason fat loss feels so complicated is because you've been taught to ignore the one thing that actually makes it simple? Every day, millions of people wake up with a plan: eat less, try harder, cut more calories, push through hunger. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, it works. The scale drops, motivation rises, it feels like progress. But then something changes. Energy crashes, cravings get stronger, hunger becomes louder, and slowly the plan begins to fall apart. Not because you failed, but because your body is fighting back. Because deep inside, your metabolism is not designed for constant restriction. It's designed for efficiency, for survival, for balance. And when you force it into extremes, it adapts. It slows down. It conserves energy. It holds onto fat even tighter. This is why so many people feel stuck doing everything right and still not seeing results. Because fat loss isn't just about effort. It's about strategy. It's about working with your biology instead of against it. And sometimes the most powerful solution is not more restriction, but smarter timing. A simple shift that aligns your meals with how your body actually functions, because your body follows patterns, rhythms, cycles that repeat every single day. In the morning, your hormones are different. Cortisol rises to wake you up. Energy demand increases. Your body is preparing to move, to think, to act. And during this time, your metabolism is more flexible. It can handle food. It can process nutrients. But here's where most people make their first mistake. They start the day with high sugar, high carb meals, cereals, bread, sweet drinks. This spikes blood sugar rapidly, insulin rises sharply, and within a short time, blood sugar crashes. That crash creates hunger, cravings, fatigue, and suddenly the cycle begins again. More food, more insulin, more dependence on constant energy from outside. Instead of stability, you get spikes and crashes. Instead of control, you get cravings. But when you shift your morning, something changes. When you start your day with protein and healthy fats, eggs, butter, whole foods, your blood sugar remains stable. Insulin rises gently, not aggressively. Energy becomes steady, your brain stays clear, and for the first time, you're not controlled by hunger every few hours. This is not about removing food, it's about choosing the right signals. Signals that tell your body you're safe, you're stable, you don't need to store fat. As the day continues, your body remains in a state of readiness. Now is the time when it can handle more flexibility. Midday becomes the window where your body can actually use carbohydrates more efficiently. When consumed with balance, alongside protein and fiber, these carbs are more likely to be used for energy, not stored as fat. This is where strategy replaces restriction. You're not banning foods, you're placing them where your body can handle them best. But then comes the most critical part of the day: evening, the time when everything begins to slow down. Your body prepares for rest. Hormones begin to shift, insulin sensitivity decreases, melatonin starts to rise, and your metabolism enters a completely different state. This is not a time for heavy digestion. This is not a time for constant energy intake. This is the time your body prepares for repair, recovery, and fat burning. But most people do the opposite. They eat their largest meals at night, they snack after dinner, they consume sugar, carbs, drinks long after the body has signaled it's time to stop. And with every bite, insulin rises again. Fat burning is shut off. The entire nighttime repair process is disrupted. Studies have shown that eating late at night is associated with increased fat storage, poor sleep quality, and higher risk of metabolic dysfunction. Not because of the food itself, but because of the timing. Because at night, your body is not designed to burn what you eat. It's designed to store it unless you give it a reason not to. And that reason is simple: stop eating, create space, allow insulin to fall. Because when you stop eating a few hours before bed, something powerful happens. Your body transitions, it moves away from digestion and into repair. Growth hormone increases, fat burning pathways activate, stored energy becomes accessible. And while you sleep, your body begins to do what it was designed to do: heal, restore, burn fat. This is the hidden window most people never access because they close it every single night with one more bite, one more snack, one more unnecessary spike. But when you respect this rhythm, everything changes. You wake up lighter, clearer, less hungry, because your body is no longer dependent on constant fuel. It has learned to use what it already has. And this is where real freedom begins. Not in restriction, not in counting every calorie, but in simplicity, morning stability, midday flexibility, evening control, a rhythm that your body understands, a pattern that your metabolism responds to. And the most surprising part, it doesn't feel extreme. It feels natural, because it is. This is how your body was always meant to function. Not in chaos, not in constant feeding, but in cycles, in balance, in timing. And when you align with that, fat loss stops being a struggle. It becomes a side effect of doing the right things at the right time. So instead of asking how much you should eat, ask when your body is ready to use it. Because once you understand that, you stop chasing results and start creating them effortlessly.